Hello everyone, in this video I am going to show how the concept of rotating vectors can be used to deduce the properties about superposition of harmonic vibrations. The superposition will be in parallel direction. As you know, when we deal with the simple harmonic motions, there are two kinds of superpositions, one in parallel direction, one in perpendicular direction. So what do we have? We have two simple harmonic vibrations or oscillations. Each one has its own amplitude. Let us say oscillator 1 has an amplitude of 1.25, frequency of 3, some initial phase. So what does it mean? So we have an oscillator which can go between these two limits, which are blue dashed lines. So as a function of time, it will go and come back. Also, there is a rotating vector concept which can be used to describe the same motion, which was shown in my one of earlier videos. It is something like this. So at t equal to 0, this is the representation of this oscillator. Similarly, we have a second oscillator whose amplitude, let us say, is 2.17. To start with, let us keep the frequency same and some other initial phase. Let's see this. This is the oscillator which will go between these two red lines. Because the amplitude is more, its extent is shown more. So this red arrow is the representation of this oscillator. Now let us see what happens as a function of time. First, let us look at the individual harmonic motions, then we will go for how their addition looks like. Let us see. So as a function of time, if you observe any one of them, it goes in a circle. If you look at the tip of the arrow, it traces a circle. At any given time, the x component of that vector gives the displacement of that oscillator from the equilibrium position. And as you can see, since both the frequencies are same, the angle between both the harmonic motions is constant. It does not change with time. The red oscillator goes between these two extremes, and the blue oscillator goes between these two extremes. Please check my earlier video where I showed the full details of the rotating vector and how it can be used for simple harmonic motion description. Now the question we are looking for is, how does the vibration or harmonic motion look if these two are superimposed? Let us see. Now three things have appeared. One is this black circle, a black arrow, and this black vertical lines. I'll go one by one. Now this black arrow is the resultant of these two harmonic motions at t equal to 0. And this big circle represents the maximum possible amplitude of the combined motion, which I'll show after a couple of minutes. And these black lines indicate the limits where this oscillator makes an oscillation, and this black dot represents the combined harmonic motion. Let us see as a function of time first. This is the time slider. This is at 0.01 second. Some other time 0.21 second. The black, all the things are rotating anti-clockwise. It takes a turn at the black line, black limit. Now let us observe this combined motion as a function of time for one full rotation. Now the first observation which you can see is the black arrow is also moving on a circle. which implies that this combined motion is also a simple harmonic motion, and its angle with respect to both the oscillators is not changing. Hence it is also going with the same frequency. Hence it will have a same frequency of 3, amplitude between this, so amplitude is about 1.6 somewhere here, and it also had some initial phase. So if frequency of both the harmonic vibrations are same, that is equal, then the resultant vibration will also have same frequency. The amplitude will be decided by the individual amplitudes and the individual phases, and the initial phase is also determined by the initial phases and amplitudes, which we'll see in a little while. So as you can see, as the black arrow is moving, the oscillator is also moving to and fro. So let us see that circle. This is generally not shown in textbook. I'll draw a line at the tip of the arrow to show that it is a circle. Look at the black arrow, it is making a circle. That means it is also a simple harmonic motion. So at t equal to 0, it has some angle with x-axis, that is the initial phase. Now let us look at the amplitude. What happens to the amplitude? For that, let us change the phase of the second oscillator while fixing all other parameters. I'll change the phase of the second oscillator only, and let us observe what happens. Now I'm not going to change as a function of time, but at t equal to 0, what happens? Let us see. So at this point, the phase is 0.35 for both the oscillator. Hence, the amplitude is maximum. Both the things are adding to give a maximum amplitude. Let us see what happens as a phase changes. We don't see anything drastic, but now see, as the phase of the second oscillator, that is the red, see the blue one is not moving, only the red one is moving. The length of the arrow is decreasing. So as phase is one of the, actually it is the phase difference which determines, since we are keeping fixed the phase of the first oscillator, I am talking only about the second phase, but it is the phase difference. So as the phase difference changes, remember this is at t equal to 0. So this is a special case where phase difference is pi. They are opposite in phase. So in here the amplitude will be minimum. Let us see as a function of time what happens. Both are out of phase, red and blue, and the black one is making a circle with small amplitude. Now this amplitude will be 0 if both the amplitudes of oscillators are same. Let us see that now. Now both the amplitudes are same, frequencies are same. Now let us see what happens as a function of phase difference. Now we can see only a red circle. The blue circle is disappearing because they are overlapped on one another. You can see the length of the blue and red arrows are same. Or first let us go to here and then start from the beginning. The initial phase of the second oscillator is being changed. See, we are almost reaching pi by 2. That is, both should be directed. This is the amplitude. It is very, very small. It is changing, decreasing. It is very small. and this is 0. So at this point it is 0, and then again it increases. So the initial angle and the amplitude depend on the amplitudes and initial phases of the individual oscillators, and the resultant motion would occur with the same frequency as the frequency of the individual motions. Let us observe one of these motions. So remember, the circle I am just putting for ease, so that we see really it's a circle. Generally we don't see such a thing in textbooks. Textbooks show at a particular time. So at any particular time, if we see an arrow, we have to take the x component of that arrow to get the actual displacement of the particle from the mean position. In my earlier videos, I had shown the same addition of oscillations through xt graph and the physical motion. I suggest you to go back and look that video. Also, in one of the videos, I have shown this concept using things available at home as part of another playlist known as Zero Cost Physics Experiments. The same concept of addition of oscillations in parallel directions. I request you to go back and look at that also. So this is a case of equal frequencies. Now what happens if the frequencies are unequal?